I don't actually mind if they return 3 cards. I don't care at all. They're now at 10 lands. They get to play a fetch land, get Bloodghast. Again, I don't care about this. They can attack Karn. That's not a problem. Karn is not my win condition. My win condition is Druid and the Ballista I already have in my hand. So I don't even need Karn. Karn was really just a tool to grab Tormod script. I don't know. It's a snow covered too, which makes it even more interesting. So I'm just going to let this happen. Karn's going to go to 1. No big deal. I'm not blocking, because what if they have a lava axe or something to kill the other druid? Then my win conditions are pretty much out the window at that point. Okay. So with Creeping Chill and Narcomoeba on the stack, with a Thug in the graveyard, I think here I will blow up the graveyard. There's a lot of really strange versions of Dredge right now that are running Hogak. Discard to hand size, nice. So now I'm going to do that play I mentioned before. Teferi can be cast with any color thanks to Oath of Nissa. He will bounce Oath of Nissa. Cast Oath of Nissa. And not hit the Vizier. I could Lattice them, but it doesn't do much. They can still Lattice doesn't do that much against Dredge because they can still put creatures in. They can still amalgam and they can still attack with Bloodghast. And I still need to wait a couple turns to Lattice them anyway. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4 potential mana. One, two. No, I counted wrong, right? 1, 2, 3 mana. I could not have latticed this turn because Karn was at 1. I would have had to lattice this turn. I would have had to block and protect Karn from being attacked last turn. I'm not under any pressure at all, no. And they do have a Stinkweed Imp, which they're just able to dredge there. They're at 25 cards left in their deck. I just need to hit a Vizier, and I've dug decent. I feel like I've dug deep enough to hit a Vizier. I did just bottom of Finale, which was a little rough. Next turn, I can Karn for a Worm Coil, which should do a good job of putting this game out of reach. Yeah, Karn. I could have done that. I could have lattice locked them. Well, I think I would have grabbed Worm Coil instead. Or maybe I would have grabbed lattice just to try to slow them down a little bit if it wasn't for the fact that Karn was at 1 loyalty at that moment. Next turn, I can sacrifice Karn to grab a Worm Coil or a lattice and try to lock my opponent out of the game there. Scavenging Ooze would be an interesting pickup because I could Scavenging Ooze, eat my own Tormod script, and rebuy it with Karn, and then be very ready for anything. That's fine. Opponent's got 9 cards in hand. Alright, there we go. We did it. We did it. So definitely cards I'm interested in. Winds of Abandon is neat here. If I was going to have a removal spell, it'd probably be that one. I do like Scavenging Ooze. Cards I'm less interested in. But I'm pretty interested in most of what I have here. I'll be on the draw, so I think it's fine to maybe do something like this. Bring these two in and bring two of those three out. I think I'd rather have an Eternal Witness than a Teferi. Yeah, I like this line. So I dropped down to 21 lands. Now I have 2 Scavenging Oozes. I have a Winds of Abandon as an extra little safety net. Okay. My game plan here is to try to combo with Druid, try to land a Karn early. Try to combo with the Druid, or try to land a Karn early to grab Tormod's Crypt and slow my opponent down, or win with Scavenging Ooze. And I have so many different avenues to get that done, and especially with Oath of Nissa to help dig for each of those relevant pieces. I think that this is a favorable matchup. So people in chat, people watching, did you watch the Modern Streamers League? If so, what'd you think? I would love some feedback. Don't want to just hear, yeah, I loved it. I want to hear, yeah, I loved it. But man, Mike, you made some really silly comments. You have no idea what it is, and I have not done a very good job advertising. That is our website. We are a streamers league made up of 20 players, including Caleb Schurer, Catlight, Cyrus Cormingill, Susurrus, Sodek. A lot of big name players. It is a very results-oriented comment. We have a lot of players. It's a charity-driven league. We are going to be playing 100 total matches. We have 2 teams of 10 players each. We'll be playing over the course of 10 weeks. Week 1 concludes tonight. Whichever team wins the most matches any given week wins that week. The team that wins the most weeks wins the entire tournament. You don't know any of these people. Oh. A lot of them, for example, Caleb Schurer is a perennial Star City Games Player of the Year award winner. Catlight is the player who I believe is the one who, if she didn't do it, she's credited with building and brewing the Bant Spirits list. Cyrus Cormingill is a famous legacy player playing Storm. Well, he's playing Bring to Light Snowshift in our league. So all this player bios and the entire page, check us out. We are sponsored by Card Hoarder and Card Kingdom. And we air tonight for the second half of week 1 at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. If you want to catch up first and watch 2 nights ago, Monday night's first 5 matches, that is available on YouTube. I feel like this hand's a little slow. I gotta go turn 1 Oath. I guess I'm digging. If I dig for I'm digging for a Druid or a Scavenging Ooze, right? And if I hit there's 2 Scavenging Ooze and 4 Druids, I get to dig 3 deep. If I fetch for a basic Forest first, we'll have 52 cards left, 51 cards left in my deck at that point, with 6. I think as long as I hit a Druid or a Scooze, I think this hand is actually perfectly fine. I am playing. I'm at the very, very bottom. I put myself on the bottom because it's alphabetical. Okay, that was not a good draw. Come on, Oath of Nissa. Druid. Wow. Okay. That was a pretty big whiff. So I just bottomed 3. So I have 48 cards with 6 hits. I wouldn't be surprised if we're playing against red and 6 Dredge, to be honest. They're doing a lot with these cycling lands. Yeah, in Bloody Morph, I probably am the least popular of the players in the league. I'm gonna Scoos for no value. If they kill Scoos, next turn I want to curve. I'm thinking about my curve here. I want to be able to have the option of curving Teferi into Karn. Keep going. Yeah, keep going, Polymorph. You're looking at Team Fire. There's 20 players. This is a really big, huge, ambitious cast. Should be a lot of fun. It's been a lot of fun so far. And we're going to be implementing more and more things as each week progresses. For example, we're going to be having other special guests, other podcasts joining in. I'm very excited about some of the names that we have as special guests coming up. I think I just need to eat their graveyard here. Like, I can Teferi bounce something. I just don't know if that's actually even good enough. So could be. Some of the names I mentioned are Star City Games players, which is a heavily East Coast to Central America, like Central Coast America, and Canada, that whole stretch. That's where Star City Games kind of resides. We do have players all over the world, though. Players in Poland, Germany. Yeah, do have a decent number of pro players from the Pro Tour circuit. I'm just going to take this here. Unfortunately, this makes those Bloodghasts live against me. I did keep a risky hand that really required Oath of Nissa to hit something, and even though I did naturally draw that Scoos anyway, I think I'm just a little behind my opponent here. All right. Opponent brought in Nature's Claim against me, probably afraid of a Lattice Lock. So let's see, I have 4 mana. There is 1 creature in the bin. I can Karn right now. And I'm basically just dead on board. I think what I need to do is eat the Stinkweed Imp. Play an Arbor Elf. And eat this Life from the Loam. So I'm planning on blocking with Arbor Elf and Skoos. And this way Arbor Elf can soak up a little bit of life and eventually gain me some life with the Scavenging Ooze. The problem was I think that I relied too heavily on a 2-drop Skoos without having any mana accelerants. I think that was that definitely hurt me this game. Okay. It's not good for me. Website's really nice. The co-founder is a fantastic developer. So I have to eat the Conflagrate. I have to deal with the board. I think I'm just dead here. We're doing Modern for weeks 1, 2, 4, and 5 of Season 1. And then we are doing Modern Singleton in week 3, which is really fun. And then after that, we are in Season 2, we're switching Modern decks if we choose to. And then the same format with the week 1, 2, 4, 5, we're doing sticking with that Modern deck. But then the middle week, we're actually going to be Team Unified Modern, which is week 8, I believe. So let me see what I can do here. I can gain 2 life, go up to 3. I can block this. I believe there's nothing I can actually do here. So this game is over. It's Modern the entire way. Yep. I just kept too fair of a hand right there. Notice I kept the hand to curve into Teferi and Karn. It just didn't matter. I think turn 4 Karn is just, especially on the draw, way too slow here. So this hand's a lot better because I'm going to go turn 1 ramp, and then I have to play a turn 2 Skoos and eat something right away, which is much stronger than what I did last game. Yep. So yeah, the Streamers League is all about Modern. In the future, we may branch out and do other leagues. We might do a Standard League, we might do a Legacy League, we might do a Pauper League, but that's we have to have a successful first league, which so far we are. Night 1 with limited advertising and resources, we had 1,000 viewers, which is I think it's 1,095, which is I was very happy with that for night 1. So I can Teferi or I can Skoos. My opponent doesn't yet have anything in the graveyard, which worries me a little bit. I'm just going to play Skoos and pass. This stops like a Cathartic Reunion that's only pitching 1 Dredger. Is Adderall going to sponsor Magic? I'm not sure. Good question. So I need to land drops here. There's nothing to draw off of. I'd have to bounce my own Utopia Sprawl to draw. So if I Teferi bounce, it'd be bouncing my own Utopia Sprawl as the only valid target. And then just a draw card I don't think is worth it. No, did I just eat the wrong one? Yeah. Stupid pop-up. I could have drawn a fourth source. You are correct. But I still think untapped mana with Scavenging Ooze out is too important in this matchup. I did trim a land, so I am down to 21 lands, but I still have 3 more Utopia Sprawls, which are effectively counting as lands right now, just tap lands. If my opponent doesn't have a way to kill Scavenging Ooze, then I can have plenty of time here. So I'm just going to eat this Dark Blast. Dark Blast is a way to kill Skoos if they end up having 2 black mana, and they also now don't get to dredge off of that draw. Eat this Copperline Gorge. Life in the Loam seems really important in my opponent's strategy here, so I think here I'm actually just going to drop Druid, because I do have I kill next turn if they don't kill Druid, and if they kill Druid, then Skoos lives, so they have to choose which one to kill. Because next turn I can go Druid, Finale into Vizier, and then win with either Shalai, Karn, or the Ballista in my hand. So my opponent has 3 cards in hand, no Dredgers in the graveyard, and they have to kill Druid, otherwise they die. That is straight up dead. I'm not going to tap out for the Teferi, but I will tap out for a next turn kill. Okay. Opponent's digging for an answer. Like the worst case scenario for me is my opponent kills the Druid, I untap, and keep going. Okay. We win. So this should be enough, just what I have on board, to defeat my opponent. But and I can just win with this too. I missed in the chat, my opponent said they'll scoop to a tiny Ballista. Alright, there we go. 1-0 in the books. So the list itself, if you look at it as a Devoted Druid deck, I think you're looking at it correctly, not as a Karn deck. So this is a Devoted Druid deck that completely swapped out Duskwatch Recruiter for Karn, and it completely swapped out Collected Company for Teferi, Oath, and Oath of Nissa. Now, having Karn and Teferi lets this deck attack from a lot of different axes that normal Devoted Druid decks would not be able to do. And notice I put a bunch of silver bullets into this deck since I have a lot of ways of digging for it with Finale and with Oath. And I do draw a ton of cards off of Teferi generally in this deck. I really have been enjoying the Scavenging Ooze and Shalai main as independently powerful cards. If you look at this list, I tuned this list to a point where the only cards that are not independently powerful on their own are these Viziers right here. This hand is a mulligan because I would keep a 6 right here. The double Utopia Sprawl's cute. Scavenging Ooze is very strong, as we saw last match, but without knowing what my opponent is, Scavenging Ooze might be absolutely useless, and that is all I have in this hand. This hand is much, much better. I have a turn 1 Oath of Nissa to dig for a Vizier, or a Ballista, or a Karn. Turn 2 Druid, turn 3 win. And I can bottom a excessive land here. Beautiful. So if our opponent has no interaction, we kill them turn 3. Okay. Opponent put 2 cards on top with that scry, so I assume they have an answer for Devoted Druid. There it is. So this is either Izzet Phoenix or Storm. Still not sure at the moment. The lines I have here are I can play Karn and grab, if I'm playing in Storm, I want to play Karn and grab Tormod's Crypt, and then just be able to stop my opponent from maybe winning next turn. I could also Finale for a Druid, and then just try to win the following turn. Those are the 2 lines I think I have right here. One stops my opponent from winning for a turn. Yep, Crypt is very good in both situations if they try comboing me off. Either case, I'm going to call putting a bunch of Phoenixes in the graveyard and swinging with them as a combo. But I do have a win in my hand next turn if Druid survives. I think playing Finale for a Druid is my best hope, because if this is Phoenix or if this is Storm, neither is a good matchup, and I think I just have to try to win as fast as possible. I think playing Karn is trying not to lose, and playing Druid is playing to win. I will be searching my library for the Druid and not grabbing the Druid from my graveyard for a key reason. I want that card in there for Scavenging Ooze or for Eternal Witness. I also don't want to be drawing too many Druids going forward. I'd rather be drawing things like more Finales, Eternal Witnesses, Teferi, Shalai, Karns, and Skoos. So I don't mind having a Druid in the graveyard there. Yeah, I knew what you meant. Druid into Vizier. Yep. Yeah, playing Vizier right there would have been a strange line. So opponents digging, they bottomed a card. They may have only had 1 removal spell. Let's see. Okay, so they have a second. Opponent does not have what they're looking for. Sure. I feel like we're playing against Izzet Phoenix here. Main board Surgical. So I can no longer win with infinite mana. So now I have to win with Karn here. We got Crypt. Now I need to buy time, so now I will play to not die next turn, and then hopefully I can get to 6 mana and either Lattice or Worm Coil my opponent. Yeah, this is definitely Phoenix. Okay. Looks like they're setting up for a Faithless Looting turn here, but luckily I have a Tormod's Crypt to answer any Phoenixes that go into the bin. Serum top. Interesting. Okay. Druid Karn. That does keep me from grabbing something next turn without losing Karn. Forest. Play an Oath. I'm not running Liquid Metal Coating because I'll keep that one. It's best in situations where you can protect Karn, right? I can't. This deck doesn't protect Karn very well, so I'd rather grab something that isn't entirely reliant upon Karn being in play for. Okay. Yep. Well, Lattice wouldn't do anything. Let's see. Okay, so now my opponent's just straight up dead, right? They don't have any mountains in play. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You know what? Let's be cute here. Yeah, free 10 life. It would, yeah. I think it's the right line. I'm just gonna protect Karn here, swing for 2, and pass my turn. Teferi is so powerful because it basically reads, in a lot of cases where players play one threat, it reads Time Walk your opponent, draw a card. In the matchup on Monday night against Caleb Schur and Cyrus Corman-Gill, we got to see the power of Teferi just bouncing a Stormlord. Sure. So if opponent doesn't have a mountain, they're just dead. Yep, they concede. So I like removal spells here. Path to Exiles I think are very key. I also like Winds of Abandon. I like Scavenging Ooze. Night of Autumns also intrigues me. Karn is the type of card where I need to keep it in. I normally would keep it out in some matchups where he just dies to Bolt. But Karn grabbing Damping Sphere, grabbing EE, grabbing Tormod's Crypt, as you just saw, is I think a very valuable addition to the deck. I'm not expecting to combo off, so right off the bat I'm going to cut 3 Viziers. I think Teferi's very valuable. I think I want at least 3 Karns. I love Shalai here. I love my 2 Scoozes. Karn is... Normally I'd agree. The way this list kind of plays out, though, Karn is potentially one of the best cards I have. Winds might be overpriced, yes. It is one of my... I can get to 6 mana on turn 3. And it is one of the ways I can just kind of reset my opponent's board. It is a maybe. It's in the maybe section. I don't know if I really made that clear. I definitely want Eternal Witness because Eternal Witness is very valuable at rebuying things like Path to Exile against my opponent. I know they're probably going to keep Surgical in to Surgical out my Druids. Oath is much less good if I shave on targets. I don't mind a lot of cases when I cut some things if I Oath and hit a land. Utopia Sprawl is arguably my best card as a ramp spell here. I do like Arbor Elf a lot since it forces some action. It is less good though with Lava Dart. Since I'm cutting the Druid Vizier combo, I can see trimming some finales as well. Maybe something like this. I'm keeping one Vizier in because I still have the capacity of comboing thanks to Fairy, thanks to Hall of the Bandit Lord. So this hand goes turn 1 Arbor Elf, turn 2 nothing. Yeah, this hand is a little weak here. Yep, I'm not focused on the combo, but if the game goes long enough, I have a way to quickly close out a game. So I don't mind keeping in one Vizier. I'm gonna mulligan this, it doesn't really do anything. This hand is much better, so I'll keep this. I like all of this. Hall the Bandit Lord is one of the few ways I can try to combo off. I don't have any combo cards, so I actually might just bottom that piece. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Lava Dart is very good against me. Oh, nice. That was a Lightning Bolt and not a Lava Dart. That was actually really, really good for me. So I can drop a Scooze. It just doesn't do much at the moment because I don't have extra mana. So I think what I'm going to do is... set myself up. So next turn, I can finale for something big if they didn't do that. I'm forcing my opponent to be very reactive here, which is good for me. Like if they can't combo off and get that looting out of their bin, I can do a little bit of damage here. So their graveyard, all I care about is a single looting. I might actually just let them have that and just focus on killing. If they bolt this right now, then I'm definitely going to eat it, though. And if I draw a land next turn, I can finale and buy back Scooze. Hard cast Arclight Phoenix. I think I'm interested more in this land and the Scooze, actually. Okay. Opponent pitches 2 lands. Good morning, grilled cheese. How's it going? Okay, I fall to 7. Little starved on lands here, huh? I can Karn, then I'll fall down to 3, but Karn's not going to do anything here. I can finale buy back a Scooze and then try to do some damage next turn. Opponent still has 2 cards in hand. I am procrastinating. That's what I'm doing here. I do have the Path to Exile, which could buy me a little bit of time, but I don't think buying time is the route for my victory here. I think I need to finale the Scooze. Which makes me regret grabbing the extra land and makes me... Alright, I'm just dead. Yeah, I knew I was dead to a bolt anyway, but I'd already seen 2. Okay. This is not a great matchup. Thing in the Ice is very strong against us. Luckily, we've dodged it so far. Another reason to keep Karn in the deck is because I can drop an Engineered Explosives on 2, which can kill their 7/8. Being on the play is big here. I'm intrigued with this hand. It's a little slow. I go turn 1 Oath, dig for, what, a Scoos? The Teferi is really what intrigues me with this hand. I have time thanks to the Path, and I have the Teferi, which can do a little bit here. Push also kills a 7/8. Path does too. It's really the Oath of Nissa that's making me consider keeping this hand. Like, what is the ideal hand I'm looking for here? It definitely has a Path in it. It definitely has a Teferi in it. So I think if I can Oath here and grab another value piece, I think this hand might be fine on the play. I'm definitely going to fetch for a forest here to try to thin my deck. I don't want to be drawing any more lands here. Yeah. So Path, Utopia Sprawl. So now I have an Eternal Witness, which is fine. Now I can go Path to Exile, loop Eternal Witness, and Path a little bit with the Teferi bounce. I can gain a ton of time against my opponent. And since my win condition here is a bit slow with Karn, because I doubt I'm going to be able to kill them with a Druid, time is all I'm really looking for. I didn't shock because worst case scenario, my opponent gets that Arclight Phoenix out, then I lose, what, 3 life? And I shocked, I lost 2, so it wasn't worth it, even though that would have allowed me to curve pretty beautifully into Eternal Witness buying that back. But now I get to gain some value here. And I'm just slowing the game down, drawing cards. I now have a somewhat of a threat in play with the Teferi. Not a problem. So I can drop Karn here. My opponent has 5 cards in hand, so the odds of them flipping Thing in the Ice is a little bit higher than I would like. What I can do is I can Path and then buy back the Path right now. Either way, I'm plussing this. Cantrips for days. I think my line is Path, Ewit, buy back the Path, pass. And now I'm just slowly buying time. The funny thing with Teferi and Karn is once I get to 10 mana, if I have Teferi in play and a Karn in hand, I just win the game, as long as my opponent has no board presence, which this Eternal Witness Path loop can do a good job of preventing. Next turn I get to play Karn and hold up Path, or play Karn and Oath of Nissa. So this is kind of the value that I see in this deck, is I wouldn't have, in a normal Druid deck right now, I wouldn't have drawn so many cards. And I would have relied upon Collected Company to get there for me. That's fine. Opponents get 4 cards left in hand. Spell Pierce, that's fine. Opponent's trying to get more Arclight Phoenixes in the bin here. There's no other reason why they sequenced this way. Sure. I'm going to path the thing in the ice and go down to 12 here. I do have one Knight of Autumn in my 60 right now, which I could use to gain a little bit of life if I get it. We're getting a surgical on Karn. That's a little painful since I do have Karn in my hand. Yeah. So what's my win condition now? Shalai or Scavenging Ooze is probably the best bet because I'm still not expecting to combo with Druid here. There's Skoos. Unfortunately, their threats have haste. Like that would just lock up their mana. Like this as if I Teferi bounce this, it would just return it back to their hand. It really would just tie up their mana, which is valuable. I'm not saying that isn't valuable. I just don't know if it's going to win me a game. I bounce Witness, get back Path Exile. You're right, I can do that. Yeah. I do feel like I have a little bit of time still. It is starting, the clock is starting to shrink here. Now I am down to 6. That helped a lot. So, yeah, I think what I actually want to do is I want to start with an attack here. I can path. I don't have to Teferi Iwit yet, although I could right now if they're tapped out. I could Oath of Nissa instead. I think Skoos is also a very valuable card I can grab. I'm not going to if I do this loop, I think I'm not going to be replaying the Eternal Witness because that does cost me life. So I want to start off with an Oath. Because I lose the life either way. Yeah. Okay, so I will fall down to 2, so any burn spell kills me here. Yeah, alright. I'm going to grab some water. I'll be right back. I mean, if we look at how many bolts my opponent had drawn that game, it was a very, very high number of bolts. Like, I think that game alone, I think games 2 and 3, they had, I think, 3 bolts each. So, each game. I'm not going to beat that, especially when I'm not drawing particularly well. I flooded pretty hard. So this is a turn 3 kill. I will keep. No, turn 1 play is a little awkward. What don't you get about it? Normally I'd agree with you. Company decks, and I've played a lot of company decks. I love Collected Company. It's one of my favorite cards. I should preface with that. Eternal Witness with Collected Company is one of my favorite things to do ever. Oh, I need the breeding pool here. All-in versions are, I don't think company versions are more resilient, but I do agree that all-in versions are faster. What this Karn is very, very grindy, very resilient. What hurt us last game, here's another potentially Izzet Phoenix, yeah. What hurt us last game was our opponent surgicaling or Karn. That was effectively, if our opponent had surgical extraction to Collected Company, it would have been the exact same. We couldn't do much. There's nothing else we could do, especially if we're not drawing the Shalai and the Scoos that we needed to kind of go off with. I can play it to Fairy, but I don't get any value out of it, so I think I'm just going to play another Druid pass and make my opponent have another answer. Not when it wasn't card disadvantage because I actually had a Karn in hand, so it wasn't card disadvantage. They surgicaled it and ripped a card out of my hand. I can Finale for a Druid and just keep trying to combo off, or I can admit the fact that it's probably not working out, and I think what I need to do is jam a Teferi here. Yeah, if Teferi lands, I think I'm in a very good spot. Okay. So up against Blue Moon from the looks of it. Hey, Funky, how's it going? Yeah, not expecting this to resolve. Okay. Yeah, I don't see how we're going to get out of this spot, but we can at least see my opponent's win condition here. I don't think blue-red decks are good for any Devoted Druid deck. I don't think they're a good matchup for any. Even with Collected Company. I think Force of Negation does a really good job of ensuring that's the case also. Okay. An issue I have with Force of Negation is that it exiles the damn card. Okay. Okay. Wow. Yep, snap bolt, kill both. The thing is that I still actually stand a chance of winning. Oh, I did. With that Arbor Elf in play, if I top deck like a Karn, I could maybe like squeeze out a Karn Lattice real quick if my opponent somehow didn't have any answers in hand. I don't know how many lands I have left in my deck, so at this point I'm just waiting to see if my opponent has another threat. "22 lands. I've seen 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 13 out of 22 lands. So I've actually seen 21 cards. 13 out of 21 cards I've seen so far have been lands. Yep. Take my Karn. That's game. I was counting how many lands I'd seen that game. So Tracker is very good here. Knight of Autumn is intriguing, but not particularly great. Same with an extra Scoos. I really just want to lean on the power of Karn and Teferi here. I don't know if I even want any removal, but I definitely think I will be trimming our extra copies of Vizier and just try to rely on Teferi and Finale to combo off, and maybe even with a Hall of the Bandit Lord. Oh, 100% for complaining, Polymorph. I don't think I had a good matchup, and I drew particularly poorly. So I think even if I drew well, I was probably down that game anyway. Let's see. Arbor Elf is under consideration for cutting, but I do like having extra mana and forcing my opponent to bolt. I assume my opponent will bring in like Anger of the Gods, so it makes me a little bit weaker there. But I think this is my 60 here. Sure. Turn 1 Arbor Elf, turn 2 Scoos or Druid. I should watch out for Blood Moon. I don't know why blue-red opponents love bringing Blood Moon against Mana Dork decks, but it does happen quite a bit. Let's go green, extra mana for Scoos. Go. I want my opponent to spend all their bolts on my creatures so they don't have a bolt for the Karn. Force of Negation changes that quite a bit, because then they can just still Force of Negation the Karn, but I don't think I play around Anger of the Gods. I think in this type of matchup, I don't think I stand too much of a chance if my opponent has it. So I'm not going to play around it here. Sure. Oh, mana leak. Okay, so no anger. Click. Sure. Click's probably going to take Scoos here. But if they actually take Scoos and I draw a Finale, they're just dead unless they have a Force of Negation in their hand. Or I can just draw more lands. Scoos is actually a threat. Eternal Witness didn't have any real value, any things to grab at that particular moment. So I think it was perfectly legitimate for my opponent to take Scoos instead. Especially if they took Scoos, it would have told me that they probably had Force of Negation in their hand. So I have 2 green. I'm representing 2 green mana at the moment, thanks to Devoted Druid and the Windswept Heath. I also have a threat that cannot get bolted. That is why I think Scoos was a solid choice for my opponent to take. The window is very small because I had the Devoted Druid in place. Even if they like reacted to something, like they're like, oh, I'm gonna snap Bolt because he's got the fetch on the stack. Then I could just untap the Druid and tap the green mana right there. So they did have a window, but it was kind of like a fake window because I did have I was representing 2 green sources. Even when I fetched, I still represented that. Plus, I wanted more access to white mana. I didn't want a Temple Garden in play. I did not want to shock for it because it's a Lightning Bolt deck that has got a 3/1 flyer in play. I really didn't want to worry about that. Hmm. 5 damage is a magic number. I need to draw something here, and I'm not drawing anything. I also can't crack this fetch because that significantly speeds up my opponent's clock on me. There's a big difference between being at 7 and being at 6. Blue, white, to fairy. We can play around mana leak here. Spicy brew from our opponent, but it looks like I'm going to fall to 2 Izzet decks today. I mean, I might get there. I am representing lethal on the board. Yes, is it a bad matchup? Absolutely. If my opponent attacks, then they have an answer. That could be the answer. Okay. So I don't have Path. Teferi might be enough. They're looking at their own hand, and they just bottom to Spell Pierce. Which is interesting. Let's see if I get there. Okay. Am I going to win the Battle of the Cripples right now? Nope, 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 nope. Okay. I felt like game 2, I have to go back and watch the tape. I don't think there's much else I could have done there. I know Blymorph, you pointed out that I could have fetched at a different point, but again, because I had Devoted Druid in play, I still had access to green mana at instant speed in case my opponent tried doing something with my fetch on the stack. So I still like that line I took just because that let me put a Temple Garden in play instead of a basic forest, or didn't make it so I had to shock. And I would have probably just grabbed a forest to hold that mana up, and I was not going to shock in that situation. I'm going to go turn my air conditioning on. It's super hot out. This hand I want to think about. It's a turn 3 Karn on the draw. Let me know in the chat what you guys think. I agree. Turn 2 Teferi on the draw. This hand's probably worse. This hand is much better. We'll keep this. Now I have to bottom 2 cards, right? So I'm going to bottom a land. It's either the Misty or the Hall, right? I don't think the Hall does anything for me because I'm even turn 2. It's not like I can win. Maybe I can. Maybe with this hand I can go turn 1 Hall, turn 2 nothing, turn 3 Druid, haste, Vizier, win. It's the same exact line. It just gives my opponent a smaller window to attack. I don't hate that. I need the white mana for Vizier, so I was either keeping the fetch or the Horizon. Okay, another red deck. Okay, draw a land next turn, and I am going to be very happy. I have 2 turns to draw a land. There's 1. So I'm actually going to play the Druid here with haste. I'll lose 3 life. That's fine. My opponent can spend all of the resources on this druid. And then next turn, I can haste another druid and play and win. Yeah, this looks like Grixis Urza here. So they have to kill this devoted druid, or I'm going to kill them. Nice little mull to 5, turn 3 win, right? They can. They can. It's a good thing that I have Teferis in my deck to unsummon the needle. Okay. So I even win through Force of Negation now because I have the second combo piece. And I don't want to show Karn if I don't have to. It's because what my opponent's seen so far makes me just look like a turbo druid build. This is so much faster than the way it used to be. Like I barely used any clock there. Alright, so Night of Autumn's good. Winds of Abandon is interesting here. I do like Scavenging Ooze. Tracker if I need to grind. I don't think I need to grind though. Scoos because it stops a lot of the loops they're trying to do. Cards I'm less interested in are Shalai. And maybe an Oath here. Or maybe a extra land. Like I could see cutting fetch land here. Yeah, I can't believe that either. So no tracker, no Winds of Abandon. I can always use Engineered Explosives for a similar effect, and no Shalai. I'll cut Ewit for the Shalai. Shalai having flying and hexproof has been surprisingly relevant. Let me update the spreadsheet. Played against Dredge. Played against Izzet Phoenix. And played against, I'm just going to call it Blue Moon. I hate this hand. Let's mull again. Mull again. Mull again. I kind of hate this hand too. Keep bottom. Bottom. Plenty of mana here. Oh, I will definitely check that out. Actually, that is the I haven't updated that specific one. That just got my old matchup data on it. Let's shuffle my deck. The one I keep my up-to-date stuff on, that was valid up until when I copied it like last week. The one I keep is actually, it's also got like all my fantasy football stuff on it. It's got like notes of what I have to do around the house. It's got pretty much like a little bit of everything in it. I didn't want to make that one public. Opponent should have responded with the bauble. So next turn I can lattice my opponent. Right? If I draw a land, I'll have 4 or 5. I just need to draw an untapped land. It's not an untapped land, although 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, just not enough here. What can I do with 5 mana with my sideboard? You want to know everything about my life? I have to build a walkway to finish that huge stone wall project behind my house. I can't lattice this turn. I can Pithing Needle. I can grab an EE, put it on 1 just to stop my opponent. I think I just want to grab Lattice right here, to be honest. Yeah, I'm going to grab Lattice now so they can't Pithing Needle my Karn. I'm just going to put a bunch of bodies in play and pass the turn here. I have to give Ian some homebrew beers. It's on the to-do list. I also got to let the wife know that the air conditioner's on. Should be home with the puppy in 25 minutes. I intend on going tomorrow, yes. Been very, very busy. I honestly shouldn't be streaming right now. I should probably be getting work done. We get the show tonight, and I have a bunch of sales I have to process for, you know, my actual job. I think my opponent's trying to think of a line to not lose. I think it was correct to minus there, just so they couldn't grab like a whir to stop my Karn from doing anything. I think that was the right line. I'm pretty sure this game... Like, they can grab a Pithing Needle off the Goblin, right? But it just doesn't do anything. Yep. I mean, sure. But now you're... Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so you're not locked yet. You gave yourself a turn. That was a nice line. I liked it. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. Cool thing about Hall of the Bandit Lord is it doesn't have to be used. You do pay 3 life no matter what, but it doesn't have to be used on creatures. It's not a creature-only land. It can also be used to cast Lattice. Just would give Lattice haste if it was a creature. My opponent has to put a creature in play right now with power 3 or greater. 4 or greater. Because next turn I get to drop Lattice plus it and I have a blocker, so they actually need to put 2 creatures in play right now. That could do it. If I didn't have Karn in play, that is. Okay. One more. Notes. Urza Thopter in 2. Let's finish this league strong here. If you guys like what you're seeing, please, please, please hit that follow button. Makes me feel like I'm appreciated. If you're watching this on YouTube, thank you. Make sure you hit that sub button. This hand is wonderful. If you don't like what you're seeing, well, you can tell me about it. 3-2 would not be that strong, no. But 3-2 when we faced two Urza, two Izzet decks, and one of which I did not. I did not draw well there. I'd be happy with a 3. At this point, the best I can do with this league is a 3-2, so I'll be happy closing the league out as a 3-2. Like, it's much better than ending it as a 2-3. I do currently have, let's look at my matchup data. Currently I'm 19-9 with this particular list, which is a very small sample size. Okay. Next turn I finale for Vizier, and then I try to win the game. Three life is definitely very relevant right here. Especially since I have to lose 3 more life to cast the finale next turn. So it'll be a total of 6 life that will cost me. 7 life with the... I guess I can always fetch, so it won't be, but... Can I spoil the results? Just tune in. Tune in. I don't know, maybe they have like something weird there. They are holding up red. I think I'd rather keep, just in case I have like gut shot or something weird. Okay, so I win. Oh no, opponent. Oh, not like this. I just bolted myself in case they had gut shot. Yes, there was really no other line that I thought my opponent might have to win there. I mean, if they had Galvanic Blast, they should have just killed the Druid already. And I figured if that spell resolved, I won. They had no blue mana, so that didn't matter. Right, but they didn't cast Galvanic Blast in response to Finale, so I said, well, the only other thing that could really punish me there is Gut Shot. Bolting myself doesn't matter. Is 39 enough? I don't know. Really want to sink that message in. Alright, it's fair. No, I could just E-Wit, grab Finale, and then attack them with like a giant Shalai. I think this gets the job done too. Night of Autumn is good here. I definitely want my paths and my Winds of Abandon. I want to trim Teferi's fine. It's not great. Maybe I'll trim 1 Teferi. Breeding pool. Let me trim those 4 right there. I should rather trim a fetch. Still have my combo, still have my flying blocker, still have my loops. Scavenging Ooze is actually probably a cut here. It doesn't do very much. I think I'd rather have an Oath of Nissa. This combo's gotten a lot easier to do online with Finale. So this hand's fine. I have a Druid, I have a removal spell, and I have a payoff. The only thing I'm missing here is a Vizier or a Finale, and it's a turn 3 kill. If I draw, actually the Arbor Elf gives me the second light source, so yeah, still be a turn 3 kill. Fortunately, I have to shock here to get the white mana available. I guess Blind Morph, the big reason paying 3 life didn't really matter because if my opponent had it, I was dead. I was probably losing that game anyway. I really can't see a situation where I was winning if they had it. Well, that was definitely a mistake from my opponent. Okay, so if I draw a Finale or a Vizier or an Oath of Nissa to dig for one of those and get one of the get the Vizier, I think I'm gonna win here. Opponent's got 1 card left in their hand. They don't really have much of a threat in play. It's got a 7-turn clock. Maybe they have another Galvanic Blast, so they're tapping red mana here. Okay. Cool thing is, Teferi can bounce that. One, two, three, four. I have 5 mana. I can Teferi, bounce the Experimental Frenzy or the Signal Pest, and try to draw a Vizier right now. And if I do that, I can win the game. That's only 1 draw. I can play a Shalai to start blocking that Signal Pest, and hold up Path or Arbor Elf from that point. I don't think I'm in any real threat of dying, so I don't think I need to play the Teferi yet. I think I'm going to go Shalai. And Arbor Elf. Okay. Not afraid of that Experimental Frenzy for 1 turn. I do know there's probably a land at the top for my opponent. There's that land that's in their hand now. Another land off the top. I guess I'm just not, maybe I'm not respecting Experimental Frenzy enough. But I am hoping just to dodge it for 1 turn. One, two, three, four, five, 6 available mana. I can Karn. I think now I want to Teferi. Bounce Frenzy. 1, 2, 3. Can't do anything else. Just pass. Yeah. Now they have to spend their turn doing that. I mean, they do get to play the card they drew, but I knew one of them was a land. I didn't know it was an ink moth, which changes things a little bit. But I still have the path. I'm still not just. I can always Pithing Needle the ink moth, so I'm not really terribly afraid of that. In fact, that's probably the line I'm going to be taking. Sure. That was a really good draw. 1, 2, 3, 4. Karn. If they want to activate Arcbound Ravager, they had to do it right there. Inkmoth Nexus plus pass. And I have both paths that I'm holding up because I can fetch a Temple Garden here, untap a Temple Garden here, and win the game there. I just need to protect Karn for a turn. The game's over. Karn is really, really good. I know, Bly, more if you were talking about how Collected Company is better, but I mean, Karn is single-handedly taking over this entire match. I know it's extra relevant because it is a Stony Silence effect, but like Inkmoth was the one card that I was really scared of there, and now Pithing Needle makes it so it's not even relevant. I know I also won game 1 because my opponent made a mistake. Okay, just not relevant. None of these cards are relevant. They need creatures in play. Okay. So they're out of mana for the turn. That's just mean. Opponent's lattice locked, and this game is effectively over. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Lattice and still hold up path. Go. So I have 2 blockers and a path in play. This game's over. The match is over. And that is Druid Karn. Please tune in tonight in the Modern Streamers League. The schedule, let me pull that up. The schedule, so do I still have that link? No. The YouTube video is up and available for Monday's matchups here, which was Caleb Schur versus Cyrus, Cat Light versus Ghost Empire, Dito versus Punthenwine, Garrett versus Davius Minimus, RJ Benson versus KO Diamonds. Tonight, we have Capolo and Francisco, the Tryhards versus yours truly on the deck you just saw, VQWZX87 against Spider Space, Yama Killer, who just took down, was it the Modern Challenge, and against Noble Murloc, and Susurrus against Sodek. So check us out, watch us. We will be on 8 p.m. Eastern Time on Twitch at the Modern Streamers League Twitch account, which if you just look up Modern Streamers League, it'll pop right up, or you can just get a link to it from our website, which is modernstreamersleague.com. Check us out, follow us. Also, follow my page if you're interested while you're at it, and I will see you tonight. Thanks for hanging out with me. Had a lot of fun. 3-2 is an okay record. Get your money back and get a free chest. We'll get that 5-0 next time. Have a good night or good day, and I'll see you tonight.